Good evening. It's not Sunday, Monday Night Ragchew. Welcome, everyone. And we've got four of us wonderful YouTubers slash ham radio enthusiasts slash emergency preparedness minded individuals. So welcome, everyone. Let's start. Yeah, does it work the same for everyone? Michael's in my top right, that way.
Yeah, it's me.
All right, so let's start with Michael. Introduce yourself, then we'll go to Mr. Mud, Wes, and then Simon with Ham Jazz. Introduce yourself and your channel and what you're excited to talk about tonight.
Well, my name is Michael. I'm with the Getting On Live channel, which deals with ham radio and everything else that I do in live. So it's not a ham channel, but we do a lot of things. And I saw some videos this week, and that's why we're having this conversation. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Thanks, Michael. Wes at Mr. Mud's Radio.
Hey, guys. Victor Alpha 5, Mike Uniform Delta, Mr. Mud here. And thanks, Paul, for having me on the show tonight. And yeah, he's up there, and there's Simon. Hey, I'm glad to be on here. I am safe up in Saskatchewan right now. We're not facing any climate change of snow or anything yet, just monitoring our neighbors down south of us. And heavily into ham radio and survival preparedness, ham radio style. So share any kind of ideas I have with us tonight, and just along for the ride.
Yeah, it's awesome. Thanks for joining. And finally, woohoo, Simon at Ham Jazz.
G'day, how you doing, Paul? G'day, Mike. G'day, Wes. Yep, Simon over here. Very excited to be on this stream, and I think it's tragically, touch wood, it doesn't get to that, but it's very apropos that this live stream is happening tonight based on Helene last week, and now the cat in the box, which they call a hurricane in the Gulf of Mexico, bearing down on Florida. So we've got an ugly couple of days coming. So if we can help facilitate and potentially create and offer a lifeline or some sort of reassurance or just anything, a hand to help, we're here. And thanks, Paul, for having me on.
Yeah, guys, it's awesome to have you back. I just wanted to welcome everyone that's checked in so far here. Dan, James, Don, 45 Auto, Andy Callie, Ryan, James, and I think that's everyone I can see. Oh, Greg. Welcome, Greg. Good to see you, buddy.
Coming in from Hawaii. So.
Hey, Greg.
Awesome.
From Hawaii. Oh, nice. Okay.
You better brought your radio, Greg. We want to talk to you there.
Yeah. Might actually be able to reach you. Good to see you guys. And Chris Bricker, I see, has come into the channel as well. Guys, before we get started into Hurricane Helene and some of the lessons learned so far, there's more lessons to be learned, I'm sure. There's so many videos, news reports. I'm sure all of y'all have been watching stuff and getting updated. Most of the videos I'm watching are not news reports. They're YouTube videos of people on the ground, whether they are responders or survivors or responders / survivors, as I'll show you one of my videos. It's been an amazing information gathering thing for me. Unfortunately, like Simon was saying, it's so unfortunate. I'm sure there's probably this is going to be in quite a few hundreds of people will probably have lost their lives, unfortunately. And after listening to some of the videos, one I'll share tonight, just clips, because it is someone else's YouTube video. They haven't even found bodies, so they're covered in mud. They're not visible. They can't even find them. So anyway, before we get into all that, I want to go to Simon because he doesn't have a lot of time tonight. He's graced us with his presence, but it's brief. So I wanted to have Simon go over one thing that he has created with. He's going to have to let you know more about it with some other people. If Simon, you want to take over and talk about your the product that you've been. What has it been? 2-3 weeks?
Yes, something like that, Paul. Yeah. But thank you. So, I grew up on a farm in Australia. We lost so many sheep. I'm sure it killed my dad. I shot so many sheep that bullets were exploding in the barrel of the 22 rifle. We lost 40 miles of fencing, 6,500 sheep, 150 head of cattle. It was the beginning of the end of my dad. I've seen devastation from bushfires. And then fast forward in Texas, I lived through the eye of Hurricane Ike up in Spring, just north of Houston, and the aftermath of that, trying to get back down to Bay Vista and Galveston Island. So the need to be there to help people is always evident, and the common thread that I find and I hear time and time again, Paul, and I've been working with some small business owners in Australia that work with the acronym is LGAs, which is local government authorities in southeastern New South Wales, south of Sydney, that tends to get devastated by bushfires every other year, if you will. The common thread is communications go out, and whether it's an avalanche, whether it's a bushfire, whether it's a hurricane, communications go out. And time again, and I commend these guys that come in with their VHF radios, and they're after the fact, if you will, and the mopping up begins, and they set up their temporary repeaters and make communications. But nothing has ever been really addressed about, we're going to use a fictitious name here, for example. Let's say there's a girl in Eden, southeastern New South Wales, and her name is Julie. Julie wants to become a ham radio operator. She's got 2 kids and 3 dogs, and she wants to be prepared. So she has an escape plan. She has a strategy, if and when a bushfire comes into the neighborhood, what she's going to do. She's obviously going to take care of the kids and the dogs first, but she's got a grab and go bag, which will consist of a HF radio, some wire, and in this case now, fortunately, thanks to Brian with Sodamate, it's never been easier to be able to send a mayday or send a emergency message over email using the FT8 tones. So that, fast forwarding to that, that gave me the aha moment, and and I want to say huge thanks out to Wes and Chris, Digital Analog Ham Radio, because those guys are my bros and held my hand the whole way, and we've been working through this to get it to this place. And essentially what it is now, it's not going to replace 911 or calling your loved ones per se, but we're offering a lifeline that's a email bot within the Ham Jazz Discord that is monitored 24/7, and the email address is hamjazzsos@gmail.com, as you can see up on the top left of the screen. We will be monitoring that 24/7. So if the fit hits the shan and somebody is in a dire straits situation, they could be sitting in a car and have a jammer. They don't even necessarily be a ham, and they can remember to send an email. There's enough hams that are monitoring this Discord, and even non-hams that are monitoring this Discord as well, that we could be somewhat of the first responders and take appropriate actions to call the 911 in that respective vicinity. So that's it in a nutshell. There is a bit of a learning curve because obviously it's involving using Sodamate, and we did a live stream last Friday with Brian from Sodamate, and it was fantastic. It's very educational. There's definitely a lot of information there that we need to learn, but we've got enough guys in the Discord that we can work through this, and this is absolutely a game changer. And what Wes mentioned the other day is we want to take this a step further. So hamjazzsos@gmail.com is the quote-unquote mayday. So it's like, okay, the crap has hit the fan. The security, and the pan, which means imminent danger, is the hamjazzsos, the +sign test@gmail.com. And that is to let us know that, look, the hurricane is bearing down on us right now. We've got a storm surge of 12 feet, but we're marked as safe. So we log their names and all of their appropriate information, but we're on standby. Wes in Saskatoon gets a cold snap where it's 20 below, and we know that there's an imminent ice storm coming in.
That's warm.
Okay,
that's a warm snap, Simon.
Yeah, okay, there you go. So that in broad strokes is the premise and the motivator of this whole this whole thing, if you will, Paul. And without it's not an ego trip or anything like that. And I don't want it to sound like a cliche, but the old saying, the sun never sets on the British accent. So the plan is that we have hams all over the world that are monitoring this email bot 24/7. And it's not disaster specific per se. It's a bushfire, it could be a tsunami, it could be a heart attack, it could be a pile up on I-45, snowstorm in Saskatchewan, you name it. So that's it in a nutshell. So yeah.
So Simon, you don't need to join the Discord to get this SOS. You could go to the live stream right on YouTube.
Yes.
So anyone who's out there and wants to monitor this, if it's a friend of a ham, such as my folks, they're not going to be going on the Discord. My parents are too old for that. You can easily send them the link to this live stream, and they can monitor the side screen, right? Correct?
Absolutely, Wes. Absolutely. And Paul and I were chatting the other day. And for a lot of people, it can be a monumental pain in the backside, Discord. You wake up in the morning and you've got like 175 messages. So if you do want to join the Discord, guys, you can mute every channel. But all you do is right click on the Ham SOS notification channel to be notified from everyone when there is a message. It'll automatically populate to your phone, but it's also up on the screen there too.
Let me pull that up.
So
you go, Wes.
Yeah, so it's designed to be used is the whole thing with this. It's not like 911 where you don't want to test if 911 is going to work for you, right? No one does that. So the whole idea of this plus test is we want everybody to be using it, checking out their equipment, prepping for a disaster. Say, hey, this is me testing it. Watch yourself come up on the screen. You know you're working. That's what it's designed around. And in the unfortunate event where you actually have to use it, you're going to feel that feeling inside that you have that you're getting out and someone's seeing your SOS message, right, Simon?
Yes, correct, Wes. Absolutely.
So we encourage everybody to try it and learn Sodomate and post it on there. We want to see everybody around the world trying it out and get used to it.
So I just posted the two emails. So if it's a real emergency, they would use the first one, correct? Ham Jazz SOS.
Correct.
And if they want to test it, they use the other one.
That's right, Paul. And the test, but the test could be in maritime terms. It could be the pan, or securite, which means holy crap, we've got severe weather coming.
Got it.
And it's just an awareness. And I think I think the other great thing about all of this is it's like community building. You know what I mean? And who knows? Who knows where this could go? Touch wood. Hopefully, it never gets used. But we're here to help. And let's be honest here. When I lived through Hurricane Ike, I couldn't get through to 911. Now I don't know. I don't know if it was if it's a prerequisite that the city automatically in the large cities like Houston or Tampa, which I think is going to get smashed this weekend or this next couple of days. I think they just dial back the bandwidth on the repeaters so that they're not overloaded. And right there, you'd be lucky to get 1 bar of signal. And how jammed up is 911 going to be? So the beauty of this is, so I don't know where you are per se, Mike and Paul and Wes, I know is in Saskatoon, but if we get that emergency popping up on the screen with the other 360, 380 Discord members plus everybody that's watching, I think we've had 3,800 views on this in the last week. My point is, with some of us, one of us will be able to, from their location, get patched through from 911 to their location to pass on the news that Julie in Tampa, Florida is safe, and she's rescued a guy called Henry who desperately needs insulin, and Paul is in bad shape. He's had a heart attack, but he's stable. All of this information that can provide the first responders absolute critical information, which has sadly been lacking in so many instances because they just don't have somebody on the ground there in real time with a simple method to be able to send a message out.
Yeah, 8 popped up now. By the way, he's got a variety of a bunch of different YouTubers' videos, and it populates and goes through randomly, I suspect. Anytime 8 pops up, I feel like I need to turn the volume up and listen and learn something. But so yeah, if you guys want, you can keep this running and monitor the chat, make a comment, say hello, and then of course the Discord as well. You can see all the tests and things that pop up there.
And also, Paul, I want to add that anybody that has a Discord channel out there, long as they don't have any copyright strikes against them, I encourage them, if they want to be part of the community, email me, which is va7bix@gmail.com. Email me your playlist or give me permission, and I'll go into your channel and grab a bunch of videos, because now the Coffee and Ham Radios guys are all on board. T.O., Smoking Ape, Paul is on board, Wes is on board, Digital Analog Ham Radio, and it's just, we've got all these videos sitting in the vault that are just like gathering dust, and it's just another way to create a bit of a fun channel that is, it's monitoring what's going on with the Discord and the emergency bot there.
And the key word you mentioned earlier, I think it was you. It could be could have been Wes. I can't remember, but is community. The key word is community, and we'll get to it in a little bit when I pull up some information and a couple of the survivors of the flooding and such in Helene. The comment they make the first 3 days, and one of them even the first 7 days, has all been just community. But we'll get to that at the time. But that's what I like about our group here in Ham Radio, predominantly Ham Radio, but many of us, if not most, preparedness mindset type of people. We have a great community, and Simon, you've got this put together with the small community of guys that know how to do those things. I have no idea how you made all those things work. I understand bots a little bit, but I would have never thought that this could even be done. So I just think it's awesome. Kudos to you and the guys that have been working on that and making it run.
That is awesome. And Simon, the end of my videos, I always say, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm having fun doing it. I know a lot of people, and that's what's so great about this community is we have all these different people that can help. And I actually had a part in Hurricane Ike as well. I was not there for the hurricane, but I was there 3 weeks afterwards for a port of disbursement. We were just giving out supplies and helping different groups out there from a funeral home. I actually slept in a room full of coffins, the coffin display room. That was my room while I was down there. Now, I didn't get into ham radio until 2011. May of 2011 is when I got my ticket. And but the ham radio team that I'm on, and Paul's on too, the amateur radio emergency service for Denton County, was deployed down there. And they had their 800 system knocked out. So, they had this nice fancy new system for emergency services. So they were at a fire station, and our team found a closet full of VHF radios. And so they reinstalled all those VHF radios into the emergency vehicles, put power poles on them, got them all working again, and got the repeater back up in the air. And so they could have radio communications and be able to start dispatching from that. And in fact, 911 dispatcher was at the fire station with the repeater, using that repeater, so they can dispatch ambulance, fire, and what else was needed. So that was my experience with Hurricane Ike, and my friend's experience. So,
yeah, what a mess.
Yeah. So, if may I add to, go back to SodaMate. If anybody out there wants to know how they can help, Brian has the creator of SodaMate. He has a how to turn your FT8 machine, your ham radio, into a skimmer. So if
is that on YouTube, Wes, or is there a link we can give everybody?
Yeah, I don't have the link here, but it's off SodaMate, and it will allow you show you how to put it into what is a WJTX a plug-in, I do believe, to run Sodomate or to be a skimmer. So having a larger network of skimmers is great because it's going to pull that FT8 SOS signal and put it into the proper channels, emails, a lot easier.
Yep.
The system is great right now. I tell you, the guys, you can get out almost on a wedge string, but I haven't tested yet. That's this video to come, I guess. But you don't need very much power, right, Simon?
No.
You sent out whatever you send out 5 watts, have somewhat of an antenna, and you'll get. I don't think it's on my channel, Paul, but you have to go to Brian's to Sodomate.
Well, our buddy Tommy Boy, Whiskey Alpha 7 Foxtrot Lima Yankee, he's done it twice. He did it on 40 meters today with 1 watt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Wes and I did sort of an impromptu live yesterday while I was out walking the dogs. And our good friend Charlie Batita, Whiskey 7 Romeo Tango Alpha, brought up a great point. As far as your grab and go goes, the ultimate antenna is just get yourself 2 slinkies. Because a slinky you can adjust to get it resonant enough, and and you know what I mean. So you're not confined just to one piece of string. So this is sort of part of the perpetual, ongoing, get our brains together, because I think we need to focus on 20 meters. 20 meters, I think what Wes has, was it something like 70% of all skimmers?
Yeah, of all skimmers, yes. And that brings me to that. Sorry, I may interrupt, Simon.
No.
If you're so inclined to put up your own skimmer, maybe you might want to put up an 80-meter one if you're around the disaster area, that's coming up. If you know that you want to have some sort of way of helping, maybe put up an 80-meter skimmer or a 40 to be in the local area, just to put that extra lifeline out. I know my radio's not doing nothing usually at night. It's just sitting there, right? Why not just put it to use as a skimmer? That's
Yep, absolutely. And I'm just going to answer Ryan here. Ryan, buddy, and Nidikri or Paul. Yes, I love the real antenna, guys, because it's basically just a bait caster with jewelry wire, and you can just as long as much real estate as you've got. And if, let's say, we go back to the fit has hit the shan, and you're down at the local football park and your town is being ravaged by bushfire, you just tie one end of the jewelry wire to your goalpost, and you can just work your radio in emergency mode for half power or whatever. But even with a high SWR, you will be able to get a signal out. And let's say you have a crappy SWR. I don't know exactly the math per se. Let's say you've got an SWR of 7 and you're putting 100 watts out. How many watts are you going to get out? You'll probably get, 5, maybe 10? I don't know what the math is because it's not linear. But my point is, even with a really crappy antenna, and this is part of the whole going forward, Paul, Mike, and where's the education behind this, is we need to forget about, SWR of 1 to 1 and how do we get the message out and be heard by a skimmer, right? So
that's why we want you to practice. Send a test SOS using that paper clip or that your gutter on your house, whatever you can, see what works for you, right? And that's part of the fun of ham radio.
So it's even worked around a square of trees. So,
yeah.
And I think it's very apropos right now because we've had 2 pretty substantial tremors in the last week here in Victoria, BC. And my wife is really pushing. I just went and bought a ton of baked beans today and other things for the grab and go bag. And Radioddity very kindly are sending me some a couple of their wind up power packs and AM FM radios to review. But it's just very, I don't know, it's very apropos. And I think with modern technology we've got, and particularly with this Sodomate, we have a chance to really push forward with this. And I look, to be honest, guys, if you can use WinLink, great, and that whole Vara thing, but it's a pain in the butt. You got to have your clock synced. You got RFI issues, and you just and
you got wires.
Yes, exactly. And if you're in a panic, you've got no hope. Oh, I don't know. No,
I don't know. I don't know. I don't have luck with wires and all that stuff. I go out and then my radio crashes. I have to do a full reboot on it. Sonomate will work just on whatever voice sideband you're on. You know, or I guess it'd be upper sideband all the time. But on voice, no data, no cables. You just need your phone. Matter of fact, you don't even need your phone. If you know what you're doing, you could program the tones right on your radio.
Yeah, was this one that I can't remember if this was one that it has an app, right?
He does, but Brian recommends though, Paul, it's best to load up the website browser.
Oh, okay.
It's just easier.
Right.
And eventually, guys, so this is where we want to get thousands of hams from all over the world. We go and bash, we all suit up and we go and bash on the doors at the FCC. You got to love bureaucracy, but we go and bash the doors on the doors at the FCC and say, hey, guys, this is saving lives and this is cutting edge technology. We need to get these skimmers and we need to get the approval for 27 megs. We need to make this digital FT8 a part of 11 meters for the CB band, because then you are appealing to the masses. All of the off-grid enthusiasts do not have to be hams. They don't have to go sit their exams, but they know, holy crap, that's right. If I go to channel 2 and then do this with my radio, I can be heard. So
there's a scale right there. Yeah.
And D says Night Cry. D Paul there says the JS8. JS8's another great thing too, but just like some of the others, it does require a little more installation. I use JS8 every month in monthly net, MCOM net training. WinLink is good as well. So it's all going to depend on what your capabilities are, right? If you're, are you?
We use WinLink on the local level. So, I mean, it may not be the best HF if you're having sync issues. So, I mean, put as many arrows in your quiver as you can.
Yeah.
Use as many options as you can, because one option may not be an option anymore.
Yeah.
Well, exactly. There's so much in the last couple of years due to the popularity of Parks on the Air. There's a lot of people on the HF bands now, and you could just maybe you could call out to one of the activators or hunters and have a voice chat with them and say I'm in trouble. But sometimes you need power, you need an antenna to get across. The whole idea of FT8, it's a weak signal, picks up weak signals. It's not necessarily that you're supposed to use low power. It just can pick up a low power signal. So,
Yeah, and Ryan's mentioning CB. What I do for North Texas and Oklahoma for my church is basically a lot of MCOM type planning and plan writing for people and their churches and their buildings. One of the things that we teach, in fact, a couple hams just helped a month or so ago, is what we call Communications 101, and it was going over FRS, GMRS, ham, CB, showing the pluses and minuses. And you have to find what works for you and, preferably more than one thing, right? So I had a guy just 3 days ago email me from that, got around to emailing me, asking me about radios and options. He goes, he didn't know which one to get. And he's going to go with the GMRS because it's one license. His whole family can use it. They buy a few radios, and that's going to be his kind of backup family communications plan. So Paul, multiple arrows in the quiver.
So, Paul, since you brought it up, and I was going to talk about this and with the videos section I was doing, but this is my Radio Oddity GM30 GMRS. This is one of my thousands of handhelds that I have. It's a Yaesu 4X. So this GMRS, that's for your family. The Yaesu, that's for your community. And it's important that you have as many arrows in the quiver. So my entire family, I'm the only one in this household right now that has a active ham license. So if I need to get a hold of my family, and we've used this during storms and some cellular outages, and it works. It worked very well. We have our ham clubs have put up a couple of GMRS repeaters in the area. We have one in Paulstown that covers my area quite well, and we got one in the middle of Denton County. Now, am I going to be able to work with different people and different agencies and stuff? No, that's going to be more Urban Ham Radio. So, guys, just have multiple ways of getting communications out.
And I didn't. I didn't.
I'll talk about this radio in a little bit right here.
Well, and I didn't say this. Just we're off the record here. But if the fit hits the shan, guys, there's all the rules go out the window. So you didn't hear it from me, but clandestine ops are the way to go. Basically, if my family is going to be washed away, I don't care what band I'm on. I'll use maximum power on ham radio, even if I'm not a ham. I didn't say it, but you know what? So I know it's a grey area, and but the amount of lives that was saved from avalanches and serious injuries behind the back of Whistler in Garibaldi Provincial Park, guys, they radioed up to Whistler Blackcomb Ski Patrol, and they said, we'll slap you on the wrist later, but for now, let's save your lives. So
that's the nice thing about the laws, or the rules, not the laws, the rules that we have here. Public safety. You got an emergency, you got an officer down, grab that sucker. Grab his radio, start talking. They don't care if you know protocol or not. It's an emergency. If it's an emergency, life to life and or property, use every means you have. And I don't care what. You use every means.
Yeah, life over ham, right? Or is it life
that's
over
right.
limb?
But I will say this: if you're not practicing with these right here, you know, your ham radio and your GMRS radios, if you have them and you don't use them, you're not going to be very effective. I'm just going to tell you that straight off. So
I think all of us, pretty much all of us, and I'm looking at everyone in the chat. I know pretty much everyone there. You know, we know about the communication side, right? We know that that's critical. That's why we're so invested in ham radio or GMRS or CB. One, we may love it, we may enjoy it as a hobby, but we also know the importance of it. And I just want to tonight. Let's go ahead and move into some of the hurricane stuff and some ideas and thoughts that y'all may have come across in videos, news reports, and things you may have seen that maybe made you think, whatever. Something to do with preparedness. It could have been, oh, I had that. I would have been okay there. Or, oh, I never thought of that. Maybe I need to add that to my preparedness kit, or, you know, whatever. Anything goes. You can make comments in the chat. We're going to talk about it. If you get on the Discord, you can, we can hear you on Discord as well. But let me start with one thing I forgot to say. I did my background this tonight. In case Frank, Ham Radio Wilderness with Frank, in case he watches this, we're still thinking about you, buddy. We want your schedule to get fixed so we see you. So this is just to remind you that we're still thinking about you. Your solderoids. So I threw that up there. Shout out to Frank.
Episode.
I'm this close again. Where's Frank? Let's get Frank back on T-shirt. Maybe.
Start to go. Yeah, maybe Quirky QRP.
Went viral everywhere.
Quirky QRP could do a shirt, bro. Have you even found Frank?
Yeah.
So let me show you guys something real quick, and I want you to think about where you are in as far as preparedness right now, in general. Okay, nothing's necessarily specific, but I want to show you something. And again, I don't know what amount of videos and such I can show, so I'm just going to show the image, and I might skip through to show you a couple other images. With your current preparedness, are you prepared for that? With where your storage is, with what you have stored, and knowing that it will probably be, depending on where you're at, it could be days, weeks, or even months before there is access in and out of your home. Would this affect your preparedness? These are the things I think of when I'm watching these videos and shorts and TikToks. My food storage would be underwater right now. All of my food would be underwater. Now, granted, most of it is Mylar sealed in 5-gallon buckets. It's waterproof, but as long as my house isn't washed away, most likely I would have access to that. Well, then where am I going to cook it? How am I going to eat it? Everything's covered in water. So think about where your stuff is. This person obviously didn't leave. I don't know their situation, whether they were told to, whether they thought that maybe they were out of range, right? Some of us think that, oh no, the water's never going to get to us. And there's a video I'll show here from one lady that she's 4 or 5 houses up the hill, and all the houses below who except the one right by the river is the only one everyone thought, oh, that's the only one that might be affected. And so they had flood insurance. The other ones didn't have flood insurance. No way in heck the water's ever going to get this high. Well, guess what? It wiped out the bottom 3 homes below her. So you just don't know, is what I'm saying with this. You don't know what situation you're going to end up with. Even though you think you're in a safe spot, you just don't know.
And to Ryan's comment, do what you can with what you have.
Yeah.
Because I would love to have hundreds of thousands of dollars at bunkers in multiple locations across the U.S. That's not going to be the case. So do with what you can with what you have.
Here she is sitting on her couch, I guess, in the water up to her chest. So this is one I came across. There's so many of these, but if this person had gotten you must evacuate, and perhaps they thought they were out of the flood zone. I might have thought that. Like, well, I don't need to evacuate. I'm at 600 feet, and the river's down at 550. It's never going to go 50 feet up. Well, you just don't know. So, looking at this and preparedness, what would be the one thing we would really need to have if we did evacuate? What's the one thing you can think of to be able to get by for maybe a week or 2 weeks?
Water.
Before you can get to supplies.
Clean
water
water
was the first thing that popped in my head.
Water's the number one, and we've done 2 things on water this year, water storage, and rest assured, I'm not going to ask anybody if they met my water challenge that I put out last month. We'll do it next month to upgrade your water preparedness some way. And
well,
so put the communications aside. Let's just assume that we all know we need communications other than a cell phone. Okay, so you've got a radio pack. What is the other thing that we should instinctively know to grab when we need to leave the house in a hurry? For all of us preparedness mind people, we should know this. What should we grab?
First aid kit.
Food and clock set 19.
It could be called multiple things, but 72-hour kit, grab and go tub. It could be in a backpack. It could be in 3 backpacks if you have a family of 3. This person perhaps could have had a grab and go bag kit with their radio and gotten to safety. And in the videos I'll show, there's people that have had nothing, because if they didn't have something that was watertight in a tub, they have nothing. And they're surrounded by water, but can't touch the water, can't drink the water. And guess what? They can't even boil the water or treat it because it's all washed away if they had it. So water. And guys, along with those radio go kits, get a minimum. I would say at least a week's supply, 72-hour kit with food, not just granola bars, with some solid food in there that you could perhaps eat without having to cook.
Yeah, cans are good. That's what I just bought today. Tons of baked beans, tuna, and all different sorts of beans. Easy.
I need to clear out my snack bag.
So for those who, even me, I've got to revamp mine. I got to look at mine again. Go to ready.gov, find information, figure out what you need, figure out how to improve it. Just like I gave the challenge last month on water storage. Let's work on improving that 72-hour grab and go kit so that if a day before something comes, they say, you guys need to get out, you could grab a few things. You have the necessities in there, first aid kit, maybe some backup medicines, maybe some antibiotic ointments and things that could, you get a cut. If you get a cut and you're in where did it go? And you're in this situation, what's the danger?
Oh,
I mean, I guarantee CVS isn't open down the street. You're not going to go get some antibiotics. So we got to think of those things.
And so where we are, like for earthquakes, the big thing is my wife's all over it, was having shoes under the bed. I don't, because I'm not right by the window. So I'd be prepared to smash up my knees, but I know to crawl, because the most important, your lifeline are your feet. So you've got to have footwear. Imagine if you don't have footwear, you're hosed. You're useless, right?
Socks.
Yeah, it's different everywhere. If we had emergency up here and it was minus 40 outside, the first thing you need to grab is some warm stuff and some sort of fire, right?
Yeah.
We got a lot of water because you'd be around a lot of snow that you could melt, but fire and warmth is another thing. So it just depends where you are in the world during an emergency. So
right.
Yeah.
And I was just grabbing this is my deployment kit. Socks. Dry socks are so important, especially when we do a lot of search and rescues. In fact, we were that within seconds of deploying our teams this Saturday for search and rescue, and fortunately they found her just as we were topping out the page out. And same thing Sunday. We had another one Sunday afternoon, which we call one of our frequent flyers. Is one of those that goes missing often. But even okay. So we're talking about disasters and stuff, but everyday stuff. Have a go kit for like if you volunteer or do stuff. Have a go kit with you that you would use in a deployment, like I do. I got snacks in here. I keep liquid IV packs here. Socks are huge because there's plenty of mud out there. So
let me give you an example. Here's a real life example. So I did 4 years of disaster action team with Red Cross, and basically what we did was we responded to home fires, house fires. Ooh. And we would give supplies and support to the families. And you think you're a tough guy. Sit down in the back of your van, with the Red Cross van, with a husband or a wife, and interview them to see what they need and try not to break down. Not easy, guys. As you see someone who just lost everything. So let me give you a quick example. There was a rancher, a family out in Blue Ridge, which is way northeast of me. House fire from a lightning strike. All of them were outside with their either boxers or pajamas, no footwear. And that was a house fire because they had no time. It was seconds. They needed to get out, and they lost their dog because no one thought to take the dog out. So here's something I always tell my family. I hate things being on the floor, and it's predominantly for house fires. You don't want things on the floor when it's dark at night and things are hectic because you got to get out in a fire. You're tripping or twisting your ankle or something on a dog bone or whatever. So have a couple things near the bed. And again, this is predominantly for like house fires type things. There's other situations, but that's a whole nother channel. Put your shoes, shorts, some kind of pants, have something nearby that you can put on and be ready to go out the door in 20, 30 seconds, and a flashlight. Those are the things most important. And then if you have a 72-hour kit, have it available to grab. And if you got a house fire, you put your shoes on, put your pants on, grab that kit, make sure your family's out and get out. But that's just an example of a house fire. So things like that may sound trivial, like Simon said, your shoes, but it's important. You got to think about these things. You got to think about this situation. When you create a plan in emergency management, you look at the hazards and threats. You look at what effect those hazards and threats have on you, your family, your church, your school, whatever it is you're setting a plan for. So look at those hazards and threats. Even if you think you're not in a flood zone, if you're within range of some water that if it rose 20, 30 feet, you could be in a flood zone. Think of all those hazards and adjust your family plan accordingly. Wes, you were going to say something?
Oh, no,
Hey guys, I've been summoned. I've got to get down and make dinner. Sorry, Paul. I got to split here.
No worries, Simon. Oh, it's so good to have you on.
Thanks so much for having me. Guys. Thanks, Wes. Where are you, Wes? Thanks, Wes. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Paul. Where are you, buddy? Over there we are.
Over in the corner.
Thanks so much.
And check out his channel. He's got some great stuff and really fun. He makes ham radio funny. Well, I take that back. He makes it fun. Wes makes it funny. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, maybe.
With his bicycle QSOs and things. Yeah, no, it's great to watch their channels. Ham Jazz on YouTube, guys. Check him out. Thanks, Simon.
Thanks so much, Paul. Thanks, Mike.
Take care.
Thanks, Wes.
Take care, brother. All right, guys, just the three of us. Let me double check and make sure someone didn't come on Discord to... I put an invite out for those who wanted to come stream with us. I don't see... Okay, I don't see any requests. So, guys, let's move to it. I'm going to go to a video that Michael brought to my attention. And this guy's, the YouTube channel is The Carpet Bagger. Mike can correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe I should just have Mike do it. But he's from the area that was affected. His wife was there. He was out making YouTube videos or something, I believe. And yeah, if you want to explain it, or his girlfriend.
So Jacob travels all over the United States and Canada, and does roadside attractions and just all the quirky stuff around the world. Well, if y'all didn't realize what happened with Hurricane Helene, a lot of people were not prepared for it. Not the Florida folks. We were all thinking it was going to go through Florida and pass right through it, but no, it went up to Georgia and Western North Carolina. And his house, which he rarely is at because he's constantly traveling, uploads almost every day, is in Waynesville. And Waynesville got hit hard. The what's it, Ash? What's the big town in North Carolina where the Biltmore's estate is? I'm blanking out.
Not Asheville.
It is Asheville. Okay, I was thinking that.
Oh, I'm not sure.
But I mean, they all got hit really heavy, and when we're talking roads ripped out, it actually ripped the road completely off the mud. It wasn't just the bridges that were wiped out; it was the roads. In fact, between Tennessee and North Carolina, there are no interstates anymore. There you go. Thank you, Jay. There are no interstates, and they're not planning to get the interstates back up till September next year. But so the number one thing he said on this video, this was just kind of a side video that wasn't part of his normal videos. And Paul, can you play it from the minute 55 mark to the 2-minute 53 mark? I just want you to hear what he has to say.
Again, I don't know how much I'm allowed to play if they want to.
So we're using this under fair use law. So we are covered in the United States with this one. So
okay, as long as we're adding content, I don't think YouTube cares too much.
Right.
Just like reaction
Right.
videos.
Yeah, this is a reaction.
What is
video.
it? 155 what?
155 to 253.
All right, we're going to run this for 1 minute, guys. Let me know. Make sure the sound's still working.
I don't know as much of what happened in other areas.
Is that loud enough, guys?
I've been piecing together what's been going on back home. And, I've seen some videos. I've saw some videos of, places I'm familiar with, like Irwin, Tennessee, or Blowing Rock, North Carolina, or Asheville, North Carolina. And just seeing this is absolutely devastating. These are places that I'm familiar with, and just to see them just destroyed, just wiped off the map. Different levels, of course, of damage, different cities, but just clearly so much damage. This is when this storm started. They were talking locally about
Is that it?
That this was going to be as.
So what he's saying here is he had no clue. He was still trying to piece together what was going on because of the lack of communication. So even though he's not home, he's having a he still doesn't know what's happening. And can you imagine being on a trip and you have family or friends or loved ones that are out there and you don't know what's going on? Can you go to the 358 mark?
Okay, give me 1 sec. 358.
358, 452. Sorry, guys. I can't get audio to work.
People are cut off from everything. Bridges have been wiped out, roads have been wiped out. So there's literally people trapped. Not only are they trapped, but there is almost no cell service, no internet service. And so these people literally have no way to communicate with their families, to tell people that they are safe. It's very upsetting, obviously. Now, I want to say I am incredibly fortunate. I've spoken to Jen, I've spoken to my daughter, I've spoken to my son. Everyone is safe. Luckily, Annabelle is off at college, so she's kind of away from what is happening.
Okay.
My son,
Should
his
be fair enough.
property.
So that whole area for a full week had absolutely no cellular coverage. Uh, you can actually pick up your cell phone. You can see full bars on there, and they'll say LTE or 5G. Mr. Mudd, thank you for coming. Sorry you got to run, sir. But
Yeah,
Oh,
I
you
gotta
gotta
run,
go?
guys. Yeah, I gotta go,
Okay.
guys. Thanks for having me, and we'll see
Thanks,
you
Wes.
again.
Take care, brother.
Take care, sir. All right, bye-bye. So I mean that's something that's going to happen in a disaster. And sorry, I was trying to get Mr. Mudd off there.
I got
So I mean, just understand, there's that you're not going to be able to get a hold of your loved ones. So that's why, like I said, this is your connection to your family, and this is your actually that's your community. That's a ham radio. This is your connection to your family. Now he's across the country. Obviously, GMRS is not going to work, but if hams are using GMRS and are able to relay through ham radio and pass this message along, it'll be a lot more effective. I'm encouraging anybody that's in MCOM, whether there's Aries, Races, or any other groups like that, get both radios. 614, Paul, if you don't mind. This is going to talk a little bit more about the conditions that they're in, this is real world what they're dealing with right now. If you could play that section.
The next day I hadn't heard from her for a while. She eventually, I guess she had gone out just kind of to go about her business, and things were rough. All the credit card machines in town are down. She did not have any cash on hand, so she literally could not go into a grocery store and buy food or buy anything. She couldn't go to an ATM because the ATMs were down. And she had, she was able to make do with what we had in the house. She was able to scrape together food, meals. Unfortunately, there was a water contamination. Put on town of Waynesville put out a water boil alert on Facebook, and no one got it because no one has internet or phone, and no one has a way to communicate with those people. So of course, and she said she thinks she may have drank the toxic water. So hopefully that ends up not being anything.
So just to talk about that a little bit, weather radios. I'm a big proponent of amateur weather radios. Big proponent of having amateur radio. Big proponent of having GMRS, CB if you got it. Cell phones if they work. But understand they had no infrastructure. They had no internet. There was if you're running cable TV or any of those wired TV services, you won't have a way to listen in if you don't have a radio. Guys, just a basic radio is important to have. Weather radios. My weather radio here, trust me, it's gone off. It goes off, and when you hear it go off, it'll wake you up. So if there is a boil water notice, there is an alert that will pop up on this weather radio. If there's a fire, there's a chemical issue. Some chemical truck, chlorine truck turns over a main street nearby my house. This will alert me for that. And they do section off where it works on your counting only. If you don't, you got to have one of these or two of these. Have a backup in your house. I can't preach this enough. Jen, who's his girlfriend, has lupus. So she was drinking and cooking with that water, not realizing that there was a boil water notice and that they were saying everything was contaminated. Some later videos that Jacob had, he was talking about that police departments were putting up signage, don't touch the mud, it's toxic. the mud was toxic with all the chemicals that was getting into it. And then, and Paul, I'll have you just jump ahead, but I had one between here. He was just talking about that people in town were figuring out there was one parking lot in town, and it was the Shoney's parking lot, which he revealed in later videos. That was the only place in town you can get cell service. Was this one restaurant parking lot. The rest of the town, you didn't have it. The roads were wiped out, so you couldn't go anywhere for that. But I mean, here's the bottom line message, and it really kind of drove home to me. Go to 8:30 mark. I think that's what 8:30. If I can read my handwriting, and just listen to what he has to say about the
emergency services or whatnot. But she did, was able to get in touch with me, and obviously she's really worried. And, she doesn't know what she can do. She's been without phone, without internet. And it's such a weird feeling. We are so reliant on our phones, so reliant on our internet, that it's just weird to feel this disconnected from people. So I just, she told me she was okay, but I couldn't just couldn't call her. I couldn't text her and just ask, are you doing all right? Are things going okay? I just couldn't. You just had to trust that things were going okay. And again, my heart breaks for people that are in a worse situation than us. People that have not been able to communicate with their family members, with people. My ex-wife was completely out of the loop. She had no phone, no internet where she was at. My daughter was finally able to get in touch with her at one point, and what she said was she had no idea what was going on. She knew things were bad in town. She knew that there was flooding where she was at, and that she couldn't leave, couldn't go anywhere. But she didn't know. She didn't know about all the bad things that happened to other towns, all the bad things that happened to Asheville. She really just had no clue, other than things are bad here. And she had no phone, no internet, no way to communicate or get information.
So, I encourage you to watch this. It's update on the Hurricane Helene. It's Jacob the Carpetbagger. The channel's called The Carpetbagger. His girlfriend's name is Janie Penny. I had a video lined up for that, where she's kind of looking at the initial damage of the town.
Hey, you all. My name.
Sorry.
There you go. But there's some great videos there. She shows some drone footage as well. And howdy, Greg. Good to see you. But she pulled up to a Burger King, and it said, we're closing at 7 p.m. due to the 9 p.m. curfew. She's like, oh, we're under a curfew? Well, she was trying to drive around to find a place to make a phone call. She tried the police department. They couldn't do anything for her.
Worried.
And but she didn't. She found out later it was actually illegal to be driving out there. they didn't want people out there at all. They pretty much been a moratorium there. So bottom line, I don't blame people like Jacob and Jen for not knowing. I think it's important that we all learn ourselves and learn from lessons from others, and from that, I think it's important that we teach others about that, because if you're in this situation, if nobody's told you how to handle something like this, you're not going to know. And I mean, who's to blame for that? I mean, really. So.
Just want to welcome Greg from Japan, JO3SLK. Greg, I've got you muted because we're hearing audio in the background. I'm not sure what it is. It could be the audio from your computer, maybe. Oh, is it? Okay, yeah. I think it's good now.
It should be out. Should be out now.
Okay, yeah. Welcome. Guys, I met, I became acquainted with Greg because he works at ICOM as, I guess, translator or
editor.
Editor.
Oh, editor. Okay. He does I guess, manual translations and various translations from Japanese into English for ICOM. So
No. Just edit
No?
them.
oh, you
I
edit
don't
them.
do any
Okay.
translations at all. I just edit.
Well, so I met Ray Novak at Tokyo Hamcom, flew with him back to the States and talked with Ray, and then met Greg through Ray. So welcome, Greg. And
Yeah, thanks.
we're hitting the hour mark, and we're just getting into some of the videos we've watched. I didn't know if there was anything else on this one you wanted to talk about, Mike, or not.
And now that's about it. But I encourage you to watch that video. There's another channel called Jenny Penny. She's pretty much stopped making her regular videos and has been just showing the area there. Jacob's got some other videos of his normal things that he does on his channel, but if you see down there, he's got back after the hurricane, and he actually goes to Asheville and looks at the destruction there, and gets to see all the search markings on all the vehicles and buildings and all that. So it's pretty impactful if you watch it.
Yeah, you made the comments. I was thinking of that, almost the exact same spots on his video. So, no communications, nothing down, no ATM. Good lessons learned from this is to have alternate communications other than cell phones and internet, alternate ways to send email, WinLink, JSA call, or whatever it is you may want. The Sodamat, which I'm not familiar with yet, but I will start getting into more thanks to Wes and Simon introducing that. And, sat phones, perhaps sat phones, if that's something you want to pay for as well. And then a big one, which somebody mentioned here, is cash. Just like he was mentioning, the ATMs will be down, guys. They communicate to make transactions, and those transactions can't happen if they can't communicate. So cash is another big one.
Yeah, even 3 weeks after the hurricane, Ike, Simon was talking about that earlier, and there was no, all the stores were cash only. The Walmart was cash only. So.
Yeah, because they can't. You can't do credit card transactions either.
That really, especially goes for gas stations.
Yeah.
If you forgot and didn't fill up, if they have, I guess just right after power outages, the gas stations, a lot of them will have a backup generator, so they'll run for a while anyway. But it's going to be cash only.
Actually, with Hurricane Ike, there were no gas stations on Galveston Island. We had to make an hour round trip to get some diesel for the reefer to keep the ice chilled. So,
yeah, I'm going to post her channel. She, I think she's using her husband's YouTube platform. He has 144,000 subscribers. Mark Honeycutt. She's actually, she talks about it later if you want to watch it. She's an actual rescuer, a boat. I guess they had boats and things. They would do river rescues and things. She mentioned that the mud in this tunnel, which was access, how everybody got access, was I think she points to about the top of this 5, so probably 7-8 feet high. That they dug that out themselves with neighbors. Listen to this part right here, and what we mentioned earlier about something we should really focus on storing or having the capabilities of providing.
For about 3 days with no other outside help. So we actually cleared the road ourselves. We dug this out ourselves. We got neighbors insulin that needed insulin. We got water to some folks that had been without food and water for 36 hours.
Well, she said people that didn't have food or water for 36 hours. So there's something right there that if you're able to salvage or grab your 72-hour kit, at least you'd have that 72 hours, right? She was even talking about bringing insulin into people. So, there are some pharmaceuticals that are very difficult to store. They only allow, they give you so much. They have to be refrigerated. All these things got to be taken into consideration. People that need oxygen and perhaps need power to run those oxygen, I forget what they're called.
Generators.
Yeah, the oxygen generator. Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are real life things. I mean, I know people. That's part of our plan for my church that I do is we've got people on oxygen generators, and we've got to people that have small generators to get power over to them, we have those resources available. But those are part of the things that kind of got to think about.
Kind of reminds
goes
me
on-
of February 2021, Paul, when Texas had
What's
that
that?
ice storm.
Oh,
Texas
yeah,
had the
yeah.
ice storm. We were getting
Yep.
generators, we're getting medication, we're getting groceries to everybody. We
Heaters.
were running heaters. We were running 2 health and welfare nets every day, one at noon and one at 7:30. So that was a very, very busy time for us. So,
There was an area in our county that was predominantly trailer homes, had no power, and some of those were families, some of those were elderly. So there was a big push to get some portable heaters out there and some way to generate power for the small community. So she talks about elderly, insulin. The other thing is she talks about having to get to some of these people, they had to climb the mountain and go around. So, how healthy are we to be able to do something like that? Or if you have to hoof it up a mountain or a hill or trek for a mile or two, are you going to be able to do that with a 40, 50, 60 pound pack on your back?
She in North Carolina as well.
I believe so. Yeah. Red Hill, North Carolina.
They were having, they have meal teams out there. And when I say meal teams, I'm talking like actual meals and packing them up. In fact, one of the companies that owned the meals, they were called Meal Team 6. But
That's funny.
But they're hauling supplies because the trucks can't get in and the roads are washed out. So the meals.
So something she said, which was interesting to me. Now she's, as a rescuer, she's probably a preparedness minded person. Check out what she says right here. Now remember, this is the lady that I mentioned earlier. There are 4 houses up the hill, and the 3 houses below them all got wiped out. Everyone only thought the bottom house was at risk of flood. So listen to this section right here. What they did as their marker.
He was planning on leaving if the water got past a certain point. He had what we were calling the go line. It was a leaf line. The water.
So she said they had a go line, and here in the bottom right corner, let me embiggen that. This bottom right corner, that was their line. So they had a line that said, if the water reached this point, we're out. That was part of their plan. So they were even thinking well beyond what you could have fathomed the river would have risen, and it did. So I thought that was interesting that they had that as part of their plan. Like, this is our last line, and we're done. We're out. So I thought that was interesting in her video. There was a lot here, guys. I don't want to take too much time. She said that they sent, this is interesting. Again, like the don't boil water on the carpetbaggers video. These guys had an alert too. Good thing that they got the alert to take higher ground. Listen to this.
Disaster relief up there is saying this is going to be an ongoing effort. So what's happening is we're getting all these supplies in, and these are little teeny tiny fire departments. People are upset because they're getting turned away with supplies. It's not because we don't want your supplies. It's because we don't have anywhere to put them.
Right.
And we have people looting, so we can't just leave them out. And since this is going to be an ongoing effort, we need you to bring those supplies in period.
That's not the marker. I must have wrote it down wrong. What she said was they sent, similar to that boil water alert, they sent it, everybody needs to take higher ground alert. They got it after the water had already gone through. That it came when it was too late. Like it wasn't before the water was coming through. It was already coming through, hitting the first layer of houses before they got the higher ground alert. So even the alerts sometimes, they're just not going to get to you. You gotta think of those things. And finally, just from hers, which this may affect our supply line for certain items. For those of you who don't know, Asheville, North Carolina is, I believe, if I remember correctly, one of the largest quartz deposit, at least in the United States. And she talks about that right here. That whole area is wiped out. So let's.
World, every smart TV, every smart anything has to have quartz silica or it won't work. So right now, the tech industry is in spazzing out because all the core silica is here and no one can get to it because all their intakes from the water are trashed.
Well, also,
So there's another thing you didn't even think about, right? We think of these small towns or this and that as, not really affecting it. If something hit New York or something, we might think, oh, that could affect the whole country. Well, this could too. Jay's mentioning lithium, and earlier Ham Radio Tectonics, talking about maintaining generators. So I thought that was interesting as well. I knew that they had the quartz mine. I didn't realize the effect that it had and the potential effect now on perhaps some electronics. This area is not going to just come back. These companies and mines aren't just going to start back up in a couple of weeks. This is months, and in some areas and some things years to rebuild. They basically have to rebuild the city. This whole town is gone. But check out that channel. That one is Mark Honeycutt. I put the link up just above. That was another one. Here's of course a railroad tracks.
It looks like the railroad tracks come right up to the
other
building,
direction,
and the railroad tracks down there are ruined.
Oh, yeah.
So that's a big issue too, right?
This here.
So they can't.
That's like a high big turn there.
Yeah, that whole thing has to be repaired, shored up, fixed before anything's coming in and out. How long is that going to take? So it's a lot, guys. These people in these areas this is gonna affect them for a long time, and things like this may affect supply chain issues and other things as well. Let me go over one other. If anyone's got any comments, bring them up. I got one other video. We'll go over a couple things on hers, and then welcome, Rob. Anything we missed on here? Check in chat real quick.
Green Thumb gave the name. The large group of people running mules with supplies were called mountain mule packers.
Mountain mule packers.
And to answer Dee's question, insulin is pretty sensitive. You got to have refrigeration for it, and they don't give it to you in large quantities. So if there's a disaster, that's one of the biggest medications that we're concerned about. And I'm sure that's usually one of the medications a lot of disaster teams, at least some government disaster teams, should have on hand. But ham radio tectonics, agree. I got a generator here I'm having problems with because it just got gummed up with gas. So maintenance on the generators, good times, good to make sure they work during the disaster. So a lot of our assets with Aries, they all get run once a month for sometimes an hour or so. And
guys, if you need to,
keep them
something
full.
I've done with for fire smoke alarms and my air filters for AC and my generators is I use Google Calendar for everything. It just keeps everything. I can see what's happening in the week, the day, and I keep everything going. Put in reminders to test those generators and let them run for 15, 20 minutes. Check the oil, check your gas supply, whether it's propane or gasoline, and you got to go through those things. Just like you change a filter and oil in a car, you've got to maintain those things. A regular fuel that has at least that 10% ethanol, it can be ruined letting that fuel sit in the tank, whether it's small engines or regular gasoline engines. You got to treat that stuff regular. You got to, or keep it empty. You don't keep the gas in there, but keep your gasoline supply treated, or purchase the no ethanol gas, which some stations like Buc-ee's might have. Thanks, Dee, for stopping by.
Thanks for stopping by, Dee.
What's that,
I've gone
Greg?
to all solar powered. I've gone to all solar powered power stations.
Yeah.
So I've got. I think I've got 31 kW at the house, and
Oh wow.
That's nice.
Yeah, I've got solar panels, but I don't have the battery backup. I've got a switch over, and I need to put a box in and have a switch over so I can at least have daytime power for that. But I've got a whole home generator as well. But yeah, solar's great.
I have an interesting piece of machinery called an Any Farm, and it takes natural gas burning and water and makes electricity, 700 watts, 24 hours a day. And so I turn off my batteries on the power stations during the day. I'm sorry, turn off the AC input to the power stations and just run the batteries during the day, and then charge them at night when charge them one at a time on a charge cycle. So I use the AnyFarm electricity to charge the batteries up. Dropped my power bill tremendously. It's unbelievable how much cheaper it is right now with using the power stations.
Is that the brand? Is it called AnyFarm? Is that just the brand name, or?
AnyFarm is the 700 watt generator put in by Osaka Gas Company.
Oh, okay. It's a Japan.
And then I use all Blue Eddy branded power stations, solar rechargeable power stations.
Yeah. I've got 3 smaller ones, mostly for camping and MCOMs, portable MCOMs with solar panels. But man, having a whole home one, that would be great.
Well, I have them from also for amateur radio and backup from 200 to 600 watts, and then my biggest ones I have 5 3,000 watts.
Yeah.
I gotta go. I gotta
great.
have the delivery.
Okay, Greg. No worries. Greg's joining us from Japan, so it's kind of cool to have him come in. Guys, I'll go over this aeroponics channel. The aeroponics, of course, is a gardening method, but he goes over a few things, and let's just go over just a couple of spots here. She talks about that she experienced with the disaster.
Versus in the mountains, because people, we've gotten very resource heavy since I would say day 7, resources rolled in with a vengeance in tons
Day
of
7
areas.
resources.
But not everyone can get to the resources. So there's a lot of people, bridges out in the hollers, they can't get across the waterway. They just can't get out. Roads are gone. So we have resources, but not everyone out there can get them. So there are crews with ATVs. There's been helicopters, rescue helicopters, all civilian led, 100%. I think there might, I'm not out there, but I'm only seeing civilian led.
Sorry about that. Get the video up.
Oh, no worries. No, so civilian led is important. She says that basically the supplies were coming in day 7, and really starting to come in, but people still aren't able to reach those. So something for those of you, those of us who are physically able, and perhaps resource able, it may require us to get out and help others. I've got 2 elderly ladies, widows on either side of us living here, and they would be a priority for us to make sure they're okay, and if they need heat, have heat or cooling or food or water. So it's a good thing to kind of build that community where you live as well. Get to know your neighbors, get to know the people around you.
I have an elderly.
Perhaps.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, perhaps be the one that helps. Go ahead.
I have an elderly neighbor that's in her 90s, and I've already got the tour of her house. I know where she shelters in place, her little safe area when tornadoes come in, and she is, keep tabs on those people. Get to know them, keep tabs, and let them know that you're there to be there for them, and have some resources for them. So, because they're our legacy. So take care of your neighbors.
Yeah, Jay, that's an interesting thing, because there really needs to be, and I understand some things like insulin and such that need to be refrigerated, but there's got to be some changes made, I think, for some of those drugs, especially if it's something like a hurricane season or something where they say, okay, during this season we can write 3 months of a normally 30-day prescription or something. You'd think there'd be some kind of change in there.
Well,
maybe it's up to the doctor. I don't know.
Well, and I get 90-day prescriptions for like blood pressure medication, stuff like that. But I don't get refills until it's nearing time for that bottle to be empty within a week.
Yeah.
So it's not like I have a 30-day buffer.
Yeah.
But it would be nice. But she actually changed my blood pressure medication, put some type of LASIK in it, and but she said hang on to the old one. It's that could be your backup in case something happens. So I was happy to see that. But yeah, it is up to the physician. And I hate to say it, it's also up to the insurance company. They're not going to refill them that quickly. So
Yeah.
they're not going to allow it. And I don't know
It's
what my blood pressure.
unfortunate.
Yeah, it is absolutely unfortunate.
It's unfortunate that but with the latest hurricanes, the one that just went through the East Coast, plus the Milton, it's going to be really, really bad going across Florida again. That there is just so much of a need for things like insulin.
Yeah.
That somebody will take up the banner and do something about getting, like I say, a longer prescription, so that people do have some things on stock.
Like if they've got, there's got to be a way to do it. We don't need to get into it, but there has to be, because they could say they know these storms are coming, hurricanes, days in advance. You may not know the intensity that it's going to hit, but they usually estimate it, and they should be able to go in and update prescriptions in those areas or something. But it is heartwarming to see all the different videos where these communities, man, they're coming together, get their ATVs out there, their bulldozers and everything, and they're making it happen. So again, community, you want to be part of that good community.
So we need a 18-wheeler pharmacy that responds to disasters. We really do. We need something like that. Maybe I can contact CVS and see if they can have some kind of disaster support vehicle like that. So,
well, something she goes on to talk about is, she said a lot of people think that, they're up in the hills and the mountains, all those people are preppers and have food. And she said there are some, but most are not. And she mentions that the people that are out of reach, the people that they have not reached yet, are many of them have no resources. They have nothing. And this was an interesting thing she said, because one of the things that I do, I believe in the long-term storage items, beans, regardless of beans, black beans, pinto beans, doesn't matter, rice, oats, wheat, those things that are long-term stored. Well, you got to have a way to cook those things. And she does, I thought that was interesting, because she does mention that right here. Because what she says, what a lot of people are living on are granola bars and stuff, and it's just not enough. Not enough to keep your health up. So let's listen to this real quick.
Like, we couldn't get rid of beans, rice, and flour because people don't know how to cook beans, rice, and flour if they don't have access to water and power. They don't have systems in place. So there are tons of people in these rural areas that aren't self-sufficient and that don't.
So, yeah, I mean, a lot of people can say, there's no point in storing beans, rice, that kind of stuff. But those are good things to store, but you do have to have the capabilities to, one, make sure they're stored properly for long-term 25, 30-year storage, and two, you got to be able to cook it and know how to cook it. You can't just eat flour. So,
yeah. One of the things that Jacob mentioned in one of his videos, and I've been watching all the videos from both Jacob and Jenny Penny. I invite you to watch her videos too. She's a different character, just fair warning, but she's got a lot of insight what's going on right now. But
there's a lot of great videos out there.
The people that live in the mountains, so the area of North Carolina he lives in is actually one of the poorer areas of the country, and there's people living deep in the mountains there. He says even on good days, there's no cell phone coverage up there. So there's going to have to be teams that go out to these mountain wooded homes to see if they're even alive, because there's a lot of people they haven't heard from in a while. So we still got a long ways to go on this.
So I'm going to play this bit, and it looks like there's still 16 people watching, dropped a bit, but let's see who can put in chat what you would have in your preparedness kit, grab and go kit, whatever, that would help in the situation she's about to explain. Remember, people are going through the mountains, back and forth, roads are gone.
So we were landlocked, no cell, no way out. My husband did try to get through the back way to a different town, and the roads would be washed out or flooded. And so he was kind of getting lost and a little bit confused because there's no GPS or anything. And so you start taking those back roads and you can end up way off track if you're not super familiar with the back roads.
Anybody? Come on, somebody knows.
There is a program, a service, and I've noticed it on some videos that I listened to about off-road recovery. And I can't remember the name of it now, but you get a coordinate and it'll put you within a couple of meters of where your vehicle is at.
Is that the one that does the 3 words or something?
Boy, I'd have to get up.
I think it's every 3x3 square. It gives you 3 words or something. Is that one?
I'm not sure what it is, but when they flipped over and started using that, and it's just been a godsend to them to find these people and their vehicles. Whereas before GPS would be off, or Google Maps sometimes would be off. But that particular program, I might find it and put it on Discord.
Okay. Yeah, there is one that it's basically like the grid squares we use in ham radio, but I think it's 3 words or 3 or 4 words. It assigns you pick the location, it assigns you these 3 or 4 words, and that's what you send out, and people can put those 3 or 4 words in that map, and it puts you within. It literally puts you within 1 meter or 3 feet of the person.
Yeah.
I can't find it, but I'll if I find it, I'll put it in.
So
we got.
We actually have that on our GR level 3 when we're running Skywarn activations. Andrew's built in the 3-word system into that. So. And
I wish I could find it. I just used it. I just learned of it about a month ago, and you would have thought I would have saved it in my favorites, but I don't see it. So we got a couple here. So Jay says, Jay Steel 650 compass, and then we got the topo map with downloaded maps. You can do that. You can have downloaded maps on your device. Of course, then your device is subject to battery power and recharging capabilities. One of the things I have in my truck is the map of the maps of Texas. Now, I don't think it has topographical. Not that I really need topographical in the DFW area. It's pretty much all within 60 feet of altitude, no matter where you go. But map, compass, downloaded maps on some kind of a device. Those are critical because, as she explained, even though they may have lived there for a long time, you start walking in up the mountains on roads and trails that you don't know, you're lost. And times like that, it's critical that you know where you're going and you don't get lost, right? So compass maps should be part of it, at least local maps, right? County maps or something that you can use in an emergency.
Just a little change of subject, but to come right back to it. Green Thumb did mention the W4 HTP repeater. If you look that up, you want to talk about amateur radio operators doing it right. Those people are doing it right. I've been listening in myself, Green Thumb, and my goodness, they're very professional, and they do take time out to chat because that's also very important as well. But anybody comes in with information or breaks in for whatever reason, they shut everything down and they're back to that mode. They were having nets. Incredible thing to see the operation there in North Carolina when it comes to repeater. Oh, Paul, I want to show this. This is from Jenny Penny's channel. I'll switch right back to you. Sorry. ADD.
Yeah, I was trying to I had 7.268 pulled up, but I haven't heard any chatter yet. I was going to see if I could.
So that's all mud. If you look there, the roadbed is washed away there. There's no, and this is kind of a low res picture because I think I'm doing too much. But you can actually see the chunks of concrete missing, and trucks just can't get in that way. That's what the roads look like.
Your audio's cutting out now.
So, sorry, Paul. Went on a tangent.
No, that's right. Your audio was cutting. Let's move on. We're hitting the hour and a half mark. So some other things she talks about later on. You guys remember they called it chemical plant in the news. I guess it was a plastics company. There were two, and she said the one of them blew up and all the chemicals went into the water. So they were unable to use the water. Many people didn't even know about it. So they may have been drinking water just like Carpetbagger's girlfriend was drinking water that, may have been tainted. She talks about having PPEs and that they're getting more PPEs, even the body gear, because as the dust and all that stuff dries, it may have chemicals in it. I mean, not the dust, as the mud and such dries, she says there's been a lot more dust. Could be chemicals in that. They tested the air. It's clear. And then let me get to this. She gave me the phrase that I used earlier. A cut can be a big deal. So make sure you have things, antibiotic or some type of Neosporin or something in case you do get cuts and such. Because if you have no access for a week or two or longer, that cut can become a big deal. I love what she says right here if I can find it, but it's under this thing here. I got to move that.
I'll just make
17.
a quick comment. I've
go ahead,
watched,
Greg.
Quite a few portions of this. It is an absolutely excellent video.
Yeah, and she's going to do others. She has others already. And I believe this is her day 9 video, guys. Day 9. And there are people still without resources. Let me play this real quick because she kind of gives a warning here. Not a warning, kind of a suggestion.
I'm going to feed in day 7 and day 8. I will be back to talk about the preps. Get your houses in order. The world's crazy. This is insane what has happened. And we are like nowhere near the end of this situation that's happened. But there's also a lot going on in the world and other things. And I just think it's a great time. 2020 was a great time to really lean into this concept. And if you didn't do it then, I would do it now. It is literally the difference between life or death for some people.
So she mentions COVID, right? 2020. We used COVID to up our game on our prepared foods. We found that we needed to go to the store for milk and eggs. That was it. We were prepared enough during lockdown that all we needed was milk and eggs. Now we don't. We've added that powdered versions of that to our supplies. So hopefully what this stream will help do, and as we watch everybody else's videos and such, especially those of the people affected there on the ground, hopefully we use their trial and this struggle that they're going through and come up with some lessons learned for ourselves to not have to go through it ourselves. Let's use these other people's experience and suggestions and such to increase our game in our family's preparedness, in our community's preparedness, in our individual preparedness. And take a deep look at what you have, communications-wise, what you have food-wise, water-wise, water treatment and storage-wise, how your food is stored. Can it be affected by floods? Can it be affected? And you just don't know. We have our supplies. A tornado could literally come here and destroy my home and I'll have nothing. But if that happens, I know a couple people and neighbors that do have some things that I know would help. So we may not be the one affected, but maybe that's our neighbor down the street that we could be the one that goes and helps. So that's kind of what I was hoping to do tonight, is get the conversation going amongst the community of, on our Ragchew crew and ham radio community and preparedness community in YouTube and ham radio, and keep this conversation going. And like I said in the YouTube short or video I posted earlier about the change from Sunday night to Monday Night Ragchew, find a way to donate, find a way to help. If you're able, if you're capable, Red Cross is a good way. Some people have other ways. Find a way to donate and help, guys. But mostly, get your house in order. This is a good opportunity. So it's funny how she's saying it. I can tell that she's a preparedness-minded person, but she's being careful what she says when she says other things going on in the world, and she doesn't get specific. So I just reiterate what she says. Get your houses in order. That's kind of what I want to get out there tonight, and everyone get more prepared than you are currently.
I'd like to just add one thing. Organizations like the Red Cross and Salvation Army and everything are good, and they're large, and they're sometimes cumbersome. On January 1st, the Noto Peninsula, which is just north and a little bit east of us, had a 7.6 earthquake. And they had the tsunami, and just things were destroyed. Roads that, it looked like roller coasters, and it still does. Mm-hmm. So many areas, and they of course set up evacuation centers and stuff. And I donated through an associate church of my church here.
Yeah.
And those people there, when you can donate to a church, and again, you don't have to be a religious person.
Yep.
But the churches are right in the community. They know the area, they know the people, they know the needs. And that's another thing I think would be a good thing to consider is donating funds or food or clothes or a lot of things through a local church where they have a real hand on the needs of the people there.
Yes, thank you, Jay Steele, for mentioning Samaritan's Purse, because I've heard that in a couple of videos. I think one was Glenn Beck's video. The person on the ground was mentioning that organization, and that's a great thing, Greg, because I know a lot of churches provide aid, food and such. That's a great thing. Jay Steele, do you have a YouTube channel? Can you let me know in chat if you do?
So you're talking to me?
No, Jay Steele in the chat.
That's what I thought. Yeah, okay. I thought so.
They're in North Carolina.
There's another group. It used to be called Texas Baptist Man. I think it's something on a mission now or something like that. But just massive kitchens and trailers and equipment just full of chainsaws. Just to be hands on the ground, the first ones to be there, just to help. There's a lot of good faith-based organizations that help. The Salvation Army, I have an appreciation for them and worked with the Red Cross too. But it's, I think from this is a couple takeaways from tonight's video is, one, watch the videos that you see coming out of what's happening. There's some great information out there. Seek them out. That last lady that Paul just played, I've never seen her channel before, but she has some great stuff there. Videos of people that are not preppers by any stretch of the imagination, like Jacob the Carpetbagger and Jenny Penny, but they're in the area that it's all happening. Watch their videos and see what lessons they've learned and how can you prepare for the situations that they're going through right now. So, so really encourage you to watch their channels. And, that's not Jacob's format. That's not what he does. But it's something that's affected him, so he's going to say something about it. He does has some videos on it. So watch a lot of your Disney bloggers this next week if that area gets hit hard, it's going to affect them, and they're going to have lessons to learn as well. And they'll get some insight of things that you and I probably won't think about unless we're actually in the situation. So.
Yep. Yeah, guys, I appreciate all the comments. Thanks to Simon and Wes for joining me earlier. Greg for joining me. Michael, of course, every week. I would say, as we sign off, Greg, since you're 14 hours in the future, to tell us what's going to happen in the next 14 hours, but I know it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, what's happening with that hurricane, Greg?
Yeah.
I've got lunch coming up and then more work.
Yeah, it's 9, 10, 11:40 a.m. I think tomorrow for you, right, Greg?
It's it's 11:41 today. You guys are the one that are behind.
Yeah, but you're in the future. You're supposed to, just let us know. What should we do? What should we?
Well,
yeah,
see.
this is.
I'll give you my PayPal account.
Yeah, we had I had Susan from Norway on a week or so ago, and we've gotten the Ragchew now, Japan and Canada with Wes, and we're going international.
Oh yeah,
that's been a truly international live stream today.
Thanks for joining, Greg, because I do want people to know that the Ragchew crew, this thing I've come up with, it's a group. This isn't just me. I could just do my Prep Ham Paul videos and such, but the stream is to try to create a community. And as topics come available and as people want to talk, it's just coming on and talking. So for those of you listening, if you're interested, want to come on and chat, it can be through the Discord, it can be live streaming. Let's get on to Ragchew. And as a reminder, that for those who may not know, I am working on getting patches and stickers. And if you join me on a Ragchew crew, I'll get you a patch and a sticker. You'll be part of the crew. So down the road, not quite yet. But anyway. Greg, you have any final words for us before we shut this stream down?
I would just say if you can put a information and a link and pin it, if you will, so that people like me can figure out how to get or to apply for visitors' rights on maybe one of these live Jews. I was not aware of this.
Okay.
StreamYard.
Yeah. So all you really need to do, if you don't have my individual contact information, you can get on my YouTube description. Get on the Discord like you are, Greg, just like you did, and just message me. You can message me. Yeah, that's how I saw it. That's how I knew to send you the link. So
and that's on Discord is where I'm saying maybe on for the Sunday night or Monday night chats, if you can like pin a little notice or something, or just whenever you say, okay, this is going to be the topic for the day. If you would like to maybe join us, here's the StreamYard.
Yeah.
And you can
do the invite link. Okay. Yep. It'll be. I pretty much do everything through the Discord, so that's where the information will be. But
and we have the capability of having audio through Discord now. So
I finally got the mixers.
Right. Yeah.
If you come in audio only, we can pull you in from Discord. There's a section there. I'm still learning Discord, Greg, just like you. There's a section there where you can do live audio. It's live stream. I think it's hashtag live stream or something like that. So
the bottom half of when you join the server, the bottom half, top half is chat for text, and the bottom half text or photos, and the bottom half has hashtags, and that's for voice. Those are the voice channels, and you join the streaming voice channel, and you don't want to be video, but you want to be audio. I can bring you in like other channels now. And here's the other thing I now have my sound bites. Are you ready?
What was that?
Yes. We're getting applause. That was a good stream. Thank you. I won't do my fart sound. I'm saving that for special occasions. But
I did post some pictures of my water storage on the.
Okay, great.
On the Sunday chat.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I see it. Oh, and Dee's got Dee. Yeah, great comment. I won't bring anything up because I don't know what people want to show on stream, but good idea, Dee, as far as the getting those things to higher ground. But yeah, Post
And
videos.
Just below that is my.
Yep, I see the water storage there. That's great.
Because I
Stackable
found
cubes.
out from Noto in discussing the problems up there in the Noto Peninsula with the people, they said, we just don't have water. We just don't have water.
Yeah. Yep.
And even when the water pipes in the streets were finally repaired, and people had to go to somewhere and take a container like that and fill it up with water, because from the pipe to their house still wasn't connected.
Oh yeah.
And this
and then you probably, and even when you're connected, it's going to have to run for a while to clear out, or you may still have to boil the water. So you need those resources: a little camp stove and a propane tank. A little propane tank can boil you some water and get by for a week or two. Are important. All right, Michael. Michael just put a video out yesterday on the hometown of the colony. Check that out on Getting Out in Light. Anything else you want to say as we sign off here?
That was a fun video. That was an unexpected video. I just happened to see that they were doing some events that day and showed up with the camera and made a whole video out of it. So it was a lot of fun. But my town's 50 years old now from becoming the colony, but it's got history going back to 1843, back when it was the Republic of Texas. So, and they had the Peters Colony land grants going. So you got 640 acres if you were married with a family, and you can get 320 acres for your single male.
I guess I was born at the wrong time, because I can barely afford 10 acres.
I think
that I'm looking at right now.
I think you can still do that in parts of Alaska. But
I already looked it up. That ended. Yep.
That ended?
I already looked it up.
Oh,
for Native Alaskans, they do still have something, not to the extent that it was, but yeah, that ended.
So we need to conquer another land so we can.
Yep. I guess that's all it takes.
Parts of Canada or something. I don't know. But
okay.
It's not an area.
I have a large lot, but it's only still, I think, 1/10 of an acre.
Well, that's about what I'm on in my HOA. Greg, is about 1/10 of an acre. Most homes.
I'm 0.15, so I got you beat, maybe.
Yeah.
Probably not.
All right, everyone. Thanks for joining. Thanks for the comments. To Simon West, thanks for joining, and Greg, appreciate your comments and joining me. You can join anytime. For those who may be watching this afterwards, put anything in the comment section. Put suggestions, comments, or even a channel or something that you found was interesting or informative on preparedness, Hurricane Helene, or whatever it may be that you want to make comments on. About community, it's about getting information out and rag chewing for us ham radio guys. That's what we call it. We're rag chewing about preparedness. This is the first week of the month, so it's the preparedness week. That'll be it. Monday Night Rag Chew this month, or this week, not Sunday Night Rag Chew. But we'll see you back next Sunday night. Sunday Night Rag Chew at 8:30 Central Time, 10:30 a.m. Japan time the next day. That would be Monday morning. Thanks again. We got a 26-second outro, and then we'll shut it down. Take care, everyone. 73. Say goodbye.
Are you going to be on?
Yep, we'll hang out after this.
Yeah. Well,
just hang out, Greg.
I have a little testing I'd like to do.
Okay.
Yep, hang out after this. But for everyone else, 73s, be safe and be prepared.
Thanks much.